Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is said to have around 8 new characters in this story by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are concerned about is, of course, whether or not adding 8 or more characters in Episode 9 is a good or a bad thing for this movie, and whether or not it's going to take away a lot of screen time from the characters like Rey, Kylo Ren, Finn, Poe, you name it. Now, one of the new villains, however, is actually going to be one of those new characters in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which honestly, guys, I think is one of the big things that I'm really looking forward to seeing in this movie, and to see exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to craft this character. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the set leaks, this is where things begin to get very exciting, involving the true identity of the new villain in Star Wars Episode 9. Now, specifically, it's described that Daisy Ridley shot a sequence during the month of December with Adam Driver, where it's described that Adam Driver, as well as an unnamed actor, dressed in a heavy black robe with the hood over his head. It's described to be a sequence in which both Kylo and Rey fight the new foe in the film. The set design was described to have a rocky surface where water tanks were used, quite possibly emulating an ocean. The costume design of the new villain in the film was dubbed as the Dark Acolyte. It said that the new villain in the film is said to be a dark acolyte in the second and third act of the film that will serve as the new villain. It said that the concept of the dark acolyte was taken from Star Wars Legends and also fits into this new villain, having a connection to the Beyond. It's implied that this is a Force-sensitive acolyte from the Beyond that will serve as a powerful villain in the film that exceeds the power of Kylo Ren. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this. Now, we do know that the Acolytes of the Beyond existed well before the events of the sequel trilogy, in case you guys haven't read the books like Empire's End and, Aftermath and stuff like that. In those books, you do get to hear a little bit about the Acolytes of the Beyond. Now, it really does raise a question here. This Dark Acolyte, right? Is this the actual member of the Acolytes of the Beyond? Is it a next generation Acolyte of the Beyond? That's a big question for sure. But nonetheless, this character is described to be a Dark Acolyte in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, still to this very day, we're not quite sure exactly who is portraying this character, but this Dark Acolyte that will be used in order to combat against both Kylo Ren and Rey is really going to serve as one of the big sequences within the third act of the movie. Now, I want to go over the set design. Now, the set design was described to be a rocky surface with a lot of water tanks that were being used, implying that it's set to emulate an ocean in the background. So it really does raise the question, could this very well have something to do with the Death Star 2 wreckage, being a place in which both Kylo Ren and Rey fight the new villain, perhaps? Is there a possibility that this new villain and his location resides over at the Death Star 2 wreckage? Now, what's really interesting about the Acolytes of the Beyond is that we do know that they are using a lot of Legends material in order to really make this character feel very unique and original that we have never seen before on the big screen. Now, mind you guys, this character is not described to be a Sith per se. He's described to be a Dark Acolyte. Now, what I like about the Dark Acolytes is that you do get to learn a little bit more about them in Legends material, and we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are really reforming a lot of ideas from Legends and inserting that into Star Wars canon. So it's very possible that the Acolytes of the Beyond that we have been hearing about for so very long now is very well at least one of the new villains in Star Wars Episode 9, since this character is dubbed as a Dark Acolyte in this movie. That's actually very mysterious. So what I like about Star Wars, though, when it comes to this movie specifically, is that it's the culmination, as Disney and Lucasfilm has said, it's the culmination of the Skywalker saga. So they don't really look at this movie as just the end of the sequel trilogy. They look at it as the end of all 9 movies together into one big, massive movie. And to me, I think that speaks volumes by JJ. It tells me that he really does care about this movie. He's really pouring his heart and soul, and he's really giving us a lot of those prequel trilogy moments. For the very first time in over 10 years, we are going to be getting a 2-on-1 lightsaber duel in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and a regular 2-on-1 duel in Episode 9. And that to me sounds like it's going to be an amazing experience to see on the big screen come December of 2019. So guys, like I say, there is a lot of controversy, there is a lot of, mixed reactions out there on whether or not a new foe / new villain is proper for the final film of an actual trilogy. Now, to me, it just works, because this is obviously an attempt by Disney and Lucasfilm in order to justify that Kylo Ren redemption arc, no matter what he did in the past, no matter what he did to Han Solo, his own father. There definitely seems like there's going to be an element of Bendemption, if you will, or a lot of people like to call it Rendemption as well. But when we think about Rendemption, alright, when we think about that whole entire aspect of Kylo Ren, reversing him back to Ben Solo, what better way to do this than introducing a new villain that's a greater evil than both, of course, Kylo Ren or any other villain that we have seen before in the past. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.